Hi, today is Tuesday, the 7th of September, and this is a late weekly recap. This was a long weekend, and yesterday, when I got back from my weekend away, I didn't get any data from IB on one. So we are now Tuesday lunchtime in Spain, about 6 o'clock in the US Eastern Time, and this is now you can see the September trade that is looking fine on its way out. As you can see, there's not much to be done. I'd like to get at least $600 on this one. The maximum is 621, and generally trading for a small fund, more specifically it's a family office private fund. I do have to manage my margin on a PM account, so that's why last week or the week before I started closing a little bit of the call side to lighten my margin on the call side. It's plus 10% PM indices and stocks, so this now have very little margin on the call side, and I'm covered all the way more than 10%. It's actually 12% PM for the put side, so really nothing much to do. I'm just going to hang in there for a little longer until I get my 610, and I will close the trade. We are now 10 days to expiration. It's only using less than 10k. That's where I'd like my trades to, when I keep them to expiration. The problem here is that on one I've got the negative theta, which is obviously wrong, so that's why I switch off the vol surface on this one. Now I've got 14, which is probably also wrong, but until I rewrite my own SOAP program, SOAP meaning single options analysis program or platform. There's a functioning VBNet free platform available. There are maybe a few bugs here or there, but I'm going to rewrite it in C# as soon as I can find the time for it. So this is September. On this one you can see that my call side will probably close for 15 cents, and here there's actually very little to be done. I mean, I could probably pull the upper long a little bit, have no hope left to get to the sweet spot. So I could definitely get 20 cents here and close out the call side. That would be a kind of a bullish reversal, not necessarily needed, but it's part of the simplification I usually go through towards the end of a trade. So that would be a -1 here, +1 here, and maybe here and there. That being said, on my PM account it will probably have no margin effect. On the Reg T account I would go back above 10k, which is something I don't really like doing this late in a trade, and it would probably cost me another 10-15 cents. So it doesn't really make sense to go for a PCS roll, i.e. a PCS joined with a PDS lower on the 39.50 level. So that's something I could do. It would cost me nothing. As you can see, I would still get my 620, but I mean, generally with about $600 I'd be happy. So I will probably just leave it there and close it as soon as I get to my profit target. I am using a 1.5 margin or leverage, a 1.5 leverage level on this trade. Later on in November, as we're going to go and have a look right now, I'm now up to 1.6. I'm still very conservative. Some would say this kind of trading is not very palatable, and I totally understand it. But on my family office fund, we have to manage treasuries. In Europe, we have in euro negative rates on treasury or cash. That's why whatever I can provide, I mean 1.5 to 2% is absolutely marvelous for the family I trade for. So at this point we have about 1.5, so $600 means about $900 on $38,000 planned capital, which is still my benchmark for the number of tranches I enter in the market. That's about $900 or more, so this is actually perfect. I know that most of you trade Reg T, smaller accounts. You don't know me or trust me. I haven't got such a long track record, although for a long time, and I totally respect that. That being said, the market has been a little bit crazy for market neutral traders. So as you can see, it's been very, very bullish. So being conservative without going outright bullish is probably the way to go. So That, I hope that can answer some of your questions. By the way, on Slack, I've just added a questions and answer channel, and please feel free to ask any questions. For the time being, and probably for the next few years, this forum or Slack channel, whatever it is, Slack group, will remain free. So do take advantage of this to ask any questions. I do not guarantee that I will answer questions immediately. Very, very busy, but this is free advice, free education. So why not make use of it? So this is my SPX Rhino for September. If we now go for October, and then I'm going to switch back volatility service, even though in one I do not really trust it. I've got a -4 delta, so this is still a very good looking trade. As you can see here, $661. Again, that's perfect for my profit target. I'm only using 14k. I may add another combo to this trade. If volatility picks up a little, I may just add another combo, and it may be at this late stage just a wide iron condor. So that would be probably, just to keep the trade simple, on the same strikes on the call side, and it could be just putting a PCS around here. So let's have a look what it would be looking like. Last week I checked and it was worth about $3.5. I guess now time has gone by, volatility is not that great, although it has picked up today. Okay, $2.95. I'd like to get at least $3 on this one, but that's something I could do. It would not affect that much my sweet spot scenario, and if anything else, I would get 946 if it stays in this range above 4,300. So that would be probably something I would consider. Again, I'm hoping now that it's late in the trade, add-ons to the trade have to be more opportunistic. So I'd like to get at least $3 on this one to justify that I would add capital this late in the trade. So I will either do nothing and just go for a sweet spot scenario within 2 weeks, probably by expiration of the September cycle, because of course if the market in the next 2 weeks goes to more or less my profit target, that will be my wild card. The market going by, as you can see, T+13 is more or less the September expiration. I could get, if the market drops by then, $1,000, and I've got again a 1.5 leverage on this one, so that would be a very good month for me. So on this one, probably nothing much to do. And on November, I started a new trade. I was a little bit conservative for the simple reason that September being still there, and I didn't want to get to a 90% of planned capital being allocated. Only went for 2, and something I've done, which is probably for those who follow the strategy, the Rhino strategy, or at least the evolving strategy to the latter. It is true that the vol skew has not really formed or emerged on the call side, but I would say that 4,900 is safe enough so that if I have, and I know that I've sold them for about 1.1, so now we are about 99 cents. So it shows that if my scenario, and I refer back to the SPX outlook, that the market has reached a local or momentary top or peak, the market, I would probably make money on the call side. It's a bit of a more aggressive bet on the call side, but having said that, it's still a fairly safe bet, I would say. So now if the market drops, I do have now my UEL upper expiration line close to 0, and this is time now to build up. So depending on when I'm going to close September, later in the week, I will add more to September. Generally, this early in the trade, I would add more broken butterfly, and with or without a CCS on the call side. So I would maybe add a similar one or just one above. That would be something like this. As time goes by, I generally narrow the wing size a little this way. As you can see, this costs nothing, gets me a credit of about $15, and if I need to get more meat around the bone, I will add another CCS. They're still about $1 around here. So that would be a broken butterfly and a CCS, just to get a little bit of better looking UEL going slightly positive 120. That's okay. Still pretty safe. As you can see, the range being covered is wide, and that's probably what I would be looking for. Late in the trade, I would say about 49 or 42 DT, 7 to 6 weeks, I may go for iron condors. Sometimes if there's a good vol pop like in October, I will go for iron condors a little bit earlier than that. Because this one has got a good cover, I would only double up my Vega, and my Vega is pretty well spread across the range. So when I don't know where the market is going, and I would of course estimate that market has reached a peak right now, and also I would advise to look at the SPX VIX correlation to assess how much Vega you can put on the call side. The SPX VIX correlation hasn't been too good lately. That being said, we still have a good looking contango, so the market may still keep running up a little. So if volatility drops when the SPX VIX correlation is not so great, volatility tends to deflate when the market grinds up, as an indication that market punters are feeling more comfortable at this time, close to this local high around 45.40, 45.50. There's high volatility that we could expect for a market at all-time highs. So of course at the moment there's good volatility, and that's why it's maybe a good incentive to add either a broken butterfly plus CCS, or maybe a little earlier than we would normally do, add an iron condor. So that is it for now. There's not much else to say. The trades are all looking good, and all I can say is that if you have any questions, because the market is not, I would say, quote unquote normal. We are in a bullish market with a higher volatility, and that's why the evolving Rhino, the new Rhino, if you want to call it that way, has called for new measures while remaining very conservative. For the fund I'm trading for, I'm still using only about 1/3 margin to equity level. That is very little. On the Recap account at the moment, about 75% of planned capital being allocated. And again, considering that my family office has invested mostly treasuries into my strategies, I would say that I have to be very careful. Okay, that's it for now. Again, if you have any questions, please look at on the Rhino Slack at the new questions and answers channel. Feel free to ask anything. The only foolish question is the one that has not been asked. Okay, that is it for now. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.